May, May to September, or May to other?
May to other. It's monthly.
Month to month?
Month to month.
That's what you mean?
That's all.
That's what I mean.
I'm just month to month, no lease.
I am also month to month with no lease, which is good in a way because if I have a bad landlord or a bad housing situation, I can leave without worrying about being confined by a lease.
But it's also bad because you could get boot in the middle of the school year.
It also doesn't offer a lot of security because I have to worry that if I complain about the state of my apartment or if I insist on repairs, my landlord can easily replace me.
But then you don't have to pay for those 4 months that you're not in town, right?
Or 4 months.
Yeah.
Oh, I live here year round.
Oh, so you mean for another student who doesn't live here year round, it's probably good to get a month to month because then they don't have to pay from May to September when they're not even living in the house?
Yeah, true. I have to pay during the summer
Really?
to
You're
keep
not
my
even
house.
Oh, to keep your house.
To keep my house.
Do they
Is that
rent
part of the
out
question?
people during the summer?
Well,
And you're not even there during
no,
that
so I
time?
won't be there, and I get a reduced rate, but it's still like
know.
$250 a month. I'm not gonna be living there, so
Do they rent it out while you're gone?
I don't know.
They probably might.
I hope not.
I'm just gonna. Okay.
Okay, the next question. Approximately how much on average do you spend a month on housing? 300 to 400, 400 to 500, 500 to 600, or more or less?
Pay $425, so 400 between 500.
Okay.
I pay 400, so it could either be 300 to 400 or 400 to 500.
I also pay $425 a month, and that's I live alone. Do you guys live alone too, or do you
I
just
live
with
with
roommates?
5 other people.
So you live with 5 people, and you each pay like $425 a month.
Yes.
That's a nice house.
It is mediocre.
Oh.
It was supposed to be done renovations when we first came here, but it's still not even done. So guys drilling there today all day.
I live with my roommates are actually a married couple, and I rent their basement while she is going back to school.
And I pay a little extra to live by myself.
Excellent. Okay, next question. How much does your rent affect your budget? Do you think it is reasonable or too much?
Well, I think it's a fair bit of money. I think since I do live with 5 other people, and like right now I only have like $3 in my bank account because the guy's taking the money out today. So
I have 38 cents.
I had like $428 in my bank, and now I have $3 after today, which is awesome.
Like, that's yours. You know where I live. For the last year that I lived there, I paid $500 a month with 5 people in the house, including myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be if you have that many people in the house, your rent should go down substantially.
I don't even think our place is like legal, but sure.
What was the question again? I forgot. How does it affect your budget?
Yes. And do you think it is reasonable or too much?
I have a pretty sweet ass. Can I say ass?
You can say whatever you want.
I have a pretty sweet ass setup, so I think mine is really reasonable. However, my rent is supposed to include my groceries because they're my friends, and it really doesn't ever. So I would personally like to dock my rent back and just buy my own groceries, but apparently that's not an option.
It's interesting that like for $25 more a month, I have the whole run of the whole house to myself, whereas you pay $25 less and have to put up with like a married couple.
Mm-hmm.
I pay $425 a month, which I think is some months like that's a big chunk of my income. Some months like my rent is 80% of my income, whereas like the poverty line says it should be less than 40%. So my rent is huge compared to my income, and I think that's way too much.
And no offense or anything, but your house isn't that great.
No, my house is I've lived in bachelor apartments twice now, so it's one big apartment. My first apartment didn't have a shower, didn't have.
Oh yeah, the no shower apartment.
Didn't have, and now the apartment it had a bathroom.
Is that even legal?
The apartment had a bathroom.
No shower.
And now I have a bathroom.
And it was in the kitchen.
Now I have
What?
No, my shower is in my kitchen now. It's next to my oven, actually. And I live in an attic bachelor apartment, so my ceilings are angled. So if I want to, I can't stand up straight in my kitchen. Do you know how bad that is for long-term health?
Wow.
Yeah, it's like
with me.
Hunchback.
I know. I'm like, I don't want to.
What's the guy's name again?
Quasimodo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. How long will you require off-campus student housing in North Bay?
How long will I require?
Yes. Like how much longer will you require? student
Until, unfortunately, I would say until August, only because when I'm graduated, it's still going to take a bit to get on my feet to get a house that's a house and not a piece of crap. So I'm going to say August.
Next year's my last year.
So for another year?
Yeah, for another year approximately, I think. But
This is my last year. I've lived in student housing for 4 years now. And this will be the last one, but then I'm staying like in this community, so I'll be in a similar housing situation as well I work.
Me too.
Okay, do you think that there is a shortage of housing in North Bay?
I think there's a shortage of decent housing in North Bay. I think, just from my own personal situation, I think a lot of the landlords try to screw over students, especially in the typical like student areas, like the student ghetto off McEwen.
That's getting turned into
Family housing.
family housing, I heard.
Yeah, so okay, it's really bad and students shouldn't have to deal with it, but now it's not even available for them.
See,
So-
here's the thing though,
So,
North Bay is
what
an
are we supposed
interesting
to do?
situation because it's a smaller town and Nipissing guarantees residence to first year students. And because Nipissing is becoming a lot more popular, we have a lot more first year students, so everybody who's not a first year student has
Yeah.
been pushed out of residence. So we have like a housing crisis in North Bay for students, so there's not enough housing, which makes it really tempting for every kind of shady person who has a spare basement, spare attic, like I live in.
Yeah.
Lindsay lives in a basement, so if you have spare room in your house, it's really tempting to make $400 and $500 a month rental income, even if the conditions aren't really good. So that's that's the problem of sketchy landlords. It's also the problem of this city, and the university lets that happen. The university should be creating more residences to keep on top of this, so that their students aren't living in substandard conditions.
I think as well that bad leasing. 1 second, let me get my. That was just so good. That last quote.
We have a moment of silence.
A moment of silence for the quote. Oh yeah, and from what I hear, it seems to be that there's like certain landlords who own a lot of rental properties, and like that just helps them to perpetuate like terrible landlording.
So you have the same bad landlord owns 50 rental units.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, you might find something better, but you're still dealing with the crappy landlord.
or you might find a house like so far away because you like screwed up and didn't get one in time, so then you like live in like
And then you
halfway
need
across town.
transportation.
Yeah.
I lived in
Yeah.
Callander my first year because I started looking for housing too late. And buses go to Callander at night like once an hour. So if I missed the last bus because I got out of class 5 minutes late, I would have to stay at a friend's house for the night.
Yeah.
Okay.
$230 a month, and my apartment didn't have a door.
Next question.
How many times have you had to change or look for housing? If so, why?
I had to change housing in the middle of the year last year because I was in a really bad building.
What made it bad?
I was just going to say, actually. My ceiling was actually slanted, and one corner was probably close to half a foot lower than the other corner. Just always bugging the landlord to have repairs done, never getting them done. Really bad roommate that made it really hard to actually live in the house. So I had to change at the end of March last year, only I think 6 months into my lease. Thankfully my friends had just bought the house, so I was able to move in with them without having to put first and last down, because if I had had to do that, I probably would have just been stuck where I was. Oh, and the year before, I ended up getting into a lawsuit with my other landlord who tried to illegally evict me 2 weeks before my lease was up because they had sold their house without telling me, and they sold it with a closing date within my lease. So, yeah, that was also